Dinghai Fusion Records. Chapter 114. Determining Affections. Chen Xing and Che Lufeng let out loud shouts at the same time as they each turned their horse's head, starting a pursuit along the outside of the arena. How come these two started fighting instead? Princess King he asked curiously. That guy is Che Lufeng? Why do I remember seeing him before? Murong Chong replied, you didn't see their eyes? Is their fight really so unexpected? Princess King he smiled gently as she replied, it's not that it's strange that they're fighting, it's just that I don't understand. Are they betting over the great Chan Yu? If Chen Xing loses, do you think the great Chan Yu will wholly and willingly take his Enda as his wife? Murong Chong. Princess King he continued, that is truly too impossible to imagine. If Chen Xing wins, then that's all right, but if in the end, it's Che Lufeng who wins, there's no point other than upsetting Shula Kong. What exactly are the two of them thinking? Tuoba Yan and Lu Ying came to the side of the arena, while Xiaoshan stood on the table, raising Kangshan Yuli, shouting, Chen Xing. Win! Win! Lu Ying took a look at the arena, then looked to Xiang Shu, whose face was full of worry, and Lu Ying seemed to have also noticed. The galloping horses brushed past as they spread, and Chen Xing and Che Lufeng each clamped their legs around their horses' flanks, charging towards the other. Che Lufeng had never expected in his wildest dreams that this Han person could ride a horse so decently, or that he would dare to charge towards himself. He feinted with his bow. Chen Xing tugged at the reins, and his warhorse circled as he brushed by Che Lufeng, basically touching him. Neither of them knocked an arrow, this was nothing more than a test. When two steeds meet, he who is timid will lose. Xiang Shu's voice seemed to still be resounding in his ears. That war horse of Chen Xing's was that old horse of Xiang Yuyan's, when she had still been alive, but Chen Lufeng's horse was a gallant horse. Though dominance couldn't be determined through their first exchange, when Chen Xing turned, he was still slower than Che Lufeng by half a beat. Do you need help? Chongming's voice never missed a single opportunity, and now it echoed in Chen Xing's ears. No need. Chen Xing replied loudly. No one interfere. Che Lufeng turned his horse's head, and with a vicious kick, he drew his bow and knocked an arrow. Chen Xing knew that now it was time for the real thing. But he didn't lie flat. Instead, he circled around to Che Lufeng's side. Che Lufeng drew his bow, and the arrow shot forth. The arena was filled with cheers as the shaft rotated in the air, sending out a streak of circling stone powder. Chen Xing tilted his head back, and the blunt arrow flew right past his face. The voices of the tile people immediately drowned out the Ruran people, and this second shout was for Chen Xing. Che Lufeng passed his bow to his left hand, without giving Chen Xing even a moment to breathe. As their horses brushed past each other, he suddenly jerked on the reins, and the war horse's left front hoof kicked forward viciously. He flattened himself, and with one foot on the ground, Che Lufeng pushed off the horse's body, pulling another arrow from his full quiver. The second arrow flew towards Chen Xing's thigh, blocking his path forward. Turn your horse back and flip around on the saddle, kick off the stirrup and turn around. But as soon as Chen Xing saw Che Lufeng's shoulders move, he thought of the trick that Xiang Shu had taught him. He kicked the stirrup away, turning his body and landing on the other side of the saddle. At the same time, he pulled the reins in the other direction. The two war horses let out long neighs at almost the same time, sending up flurries of snow. Che Lufeng's arrow shaft brushed past the horse's flank, and amidst the flying snow, Chen Xing stepped through the air and landed solidly on that Xiangnu horse. Using the sound of hooves from 20 paces away to determine his position, he closed his eyes, turned around, and drew his bow. Dust went flying as the horse galloped on, as he used the sound to aim his bow. At the same time, the third arrow flew at him from within the powdery snow. Chen Xing steadied his nerves, sending his 3 arrows flying in quick succession. Upon seeing that their arrows had both missed, Xiangshu sped forward to shout for them to stop, but just at this moment, Che Lufeng yanked at his horse's reins. Just as he was about to rise, he met those 3 arrows of Chen Xing's that flew at him from within the mist of snow. Che Lufeng's last arrow pierced through the mist of snow just like that, flying towards Chen Xing's chest. Suddenly, a barely noticeable flash of golden light shone from the left hand that Chen Xing had wrapped around the bow, and it revealed an odd ring. When the ring appeared, the flow of time slowed to a crawl. A hush fell over the world, and time stopped for a brief moment. When Chen Xing saw that arrow fly towards him and suddenly slow, he didn't know why it had, but when he reacted, he immediately turned and laid himself flat against the horse's back. The ring flashed with a short burst of light, before it once again vanished from Chen Xing's hand. But with this short moment that he had gained, Chen Xing managed to dodge that third arrow that the naked eye could barely even make out. The moment Che Lufeng rose, 2 arrows shot at him, one brushing past his horse's head, the other leaping right over his shoulder. One last arrow perfectly struck the feather headpiece on his head. It took the long feathered headdress of the Ruren flying into the air, drawing out an arc before it landed on the ground. Xiangshu stopped, and the mist of snow parted. The 2 of them turned their horses around, each of them backing away. The arena was completely silent. A good few breaths later, a loud cry that could level mountains and seas erupted forth from Chi Li Chuan. Chen Xing could not stop panting as he watched Che Lufeng from afar. Che Lufeng couldn't believe what had happened, because those last 3 arrows had all been fired off in one brief second. In the end, Che Lufeng said, "You've won, Han person." Chen Xing's heart was about to explode out of his chest. Che Lufeng dismounted and picked up his headdress, holding it in his hand, not speaking. At last, he glanced towards Xiangshu, his eyes filled with complicated emotions. "That last arrow I couldn't have dodged originally, Che Lufeng," Chen Xing said. "It was just that my luck was good. Even if we tied, it still counts as my loss," Che Lufeng replied. "No matter how you dodged, it was all fated to be. I've lost, and I've never won from the very beginning. This counts as giving myself an explanation as well. Who taught you your archery skills?" Chen Xing smiled a little, but didn't reply. Che Lufeng pushed aside the crowd and left. Xiangshu said, "Anda. I taught him how to shoot." Chen Xing slowly calmed, watching Che Lufeng's silhouette leaving. "Ah! The mission's finally done." Chen Xing climbed off his horse, tossing his bow to one side. He wiped the sweat off his brow, but his back was soaked completely through, all 3 layers inside and out. He bemoaned, "I've worked so hard for over half a year, just for today. I swear that from today onwards, I won't practice martial arts anymore. It's too tiring, I'm really tired to death. Where's Xiangshu? Where did he go now?" Chen Xing walked out of the arena, only to see that Xiangshu and Che Lufeng were standing to one side, talking. Che Lufeng glanced at Chen Xing, before raising his head slightly, looking directly into Xiangshu's eyes. Chen Xing was no longer happy with that, and he immediately began to walk over, but Xiangshu didn't even look at him as he raised a hand, palm towards Chen Xing, meaning stop. He then pointed at the ground, meaning stand there, don't come over. Che Lufeng and Xiangshu were both silent for a long time. In the end, Xiangshu lifted a hand, put it on Che Lufeng's shoulder, and patted him. Che Lufeng finally nodded, closed his eyes, and turned and left. After that, Xiangshu started walking towards Chen Xing. "What did he say?" Chen Xing asked. "Nothing much," Xiangshu responded absent-mindedly. For some unknown reason, his gaze grew very complicated. Chen Xing once again felt that things became a little dull and tasteless between them. The wind began to blow again, sending the flags above their heads that filled the skies of Chi Li Chuan fluttering. Embroidered on the flags were saintly beasts that looked as if they were alive, and it was as if they were racing across the sky. Chen Xing turned, but before he left the arena, he asked, "Great Chan Yu, where are we going now?" Xiang Shu replied, "I don't know." The atmosphere between the two of them suddenly grew strange, and neither of them spoke. Chen Xing began to walk slowly towards the mountains, and when he passed by the Jiaok People's Market, he saw a shield. "Do you want to go sledding?" he asked Xiang Shu, stopping in his tracks. Xiang Shu fell silent for a long time, before replying, "I won't go." Chen Xing, "Oh," he replied. "Are you angry?" Xiang Shu said, "What did you bet?" Mustering up a smile, Chen Xing replied, "Che Lufeng didn't tell you anything." Seeing how Xiang Shu appeared, he had clearly already asked Che Lufeng. Xiang Shu turned and left Chi Le Chuan, walking towards the eastern ridge of the Yin Mountains, not speaking a single word the entire time. Chen Xing exposed himself as he tried to explain. We were just joking around, don't take it seriously." Xiang Shu still didn't reply. He stepped over the collected snow, his martial boots sending up little flurries. Chen Xing followed behind, but that competition had left him a little short of breath. The two of them came to the waist of Mount Zilu within the Yin Mountains. Chen Xing's words dried up again. He felt that he had gone a little too far this time. He wanted to apologize to Xiang Shu, but he didn't know how to start. Xiang Shu, however, only stood on the waist of the mountain. Looking out from here, within Chi Le Chuan, there was a clear view of the beautiful scenery of the entire autumn close festival. "Has no one told you," Xiang Shu said earnestly, holding out a hand, "if the person in your heart is a tile person, and if you want to go find him and go sledding with him, you have to wait patiently for him to reach out a hand to you of his own accord first." With that, Xiang Shu reached his large, broad palm out towards Chen Xing. Immediately, Chen Xing felt a wave of dizziness, and he looked at Xiang Shu's hand, not understanding what to do. His eyes turned red, and he subconsciously looked towards Xiang Shu's, before lightly placing his hand in that palm. "But, we didn't bring a shield." Chen Xing didn't know why, but his mind was an absolute mess, and it strayed to this random, out of the blue matter that had nothing to do with anything. The heart lamp. Xiang Shu pulled Chen Xing into his embrace, and immediately the light of the heart lamp shone brilliantly. The gilded martial robes fluttered as Xiang Shu hugged him, and they leapt off the cliff into thin air. Xiang Shu stepped forward, and the golden light gathered into a shield that flipped through the air and landed under their feet, and they went sledding towards Chi Le Chuan. Chen Xing immediately shouted loudly as he turned to hug Xiang Shu tightly, burying himself in his chest. Golden light rose from the ground as Xiang Shu took Chen Xing along and made a turn at the foot of the mountain, calling upon the light of the heart lamp and circling around Chi Le Chuan. His feet trod on the shield as they slid upwards, along the snow-capped peaks, towards the summit of Mount Zilu. Chen Xing, wait. Yaa. At noon, under the brilliant light of the sun, Xiang Shu stepped onto the shield, letting Chen Xing stand in front of him as he hugged him around the waist from behind. With a turn, they slid up the peak of the mountain some hundreds of zhang tall. "Do you still want to go sledding the second time?" Xiang Shu asked earnestly as he lowered his head and looked into Chen Xing's eyes. Chen Xing nodded and replied, "Yes." "You've agreed," Xiang Shu said solemnly, before he turned his body. Chen Xing confirmed, "I've agreed, wait. I still have something to say, ah." Xiang Shu hugged Chen Xing tight, and from the end of the summits of the Yin Mountains, he tilted his body down. His feet stepped swiftly as he trod onto the shield, flying swiftly down the snowy slope. Chen Xing hugged Xiang Shu tightly, burying his head in his chest, and their martial robes fluttered wildly in the strong wind, whistling as they went. "Look." Xiang Shu only said a single word. Chen Xing raised his head from Xiang Shu's shoulder, and he was instantly shaken by the beauty of the scene before his eyes. Xiang Shu, his feet planted on the shield, had actually slid from one peak towards the other peak. The sea of clouds parted gently, revealing the vast, clear sky above them, as well as the peaks of the Yin mountains that stood like a group of dragons around them. As they looked over the world below, the scene below was like a huge painting of vast rivers and mountains. A flock of birds sped across the land, and the clouds parted, and in this moment, they only had each other. Xiangshu let go of Chen Xing, and the two of them parted for a brief moment. Chen Xing's eyes were already reddened, and his tears kept pouring down outside his control. He raised his sleeve to wipe them away, like a helpless child. "Now it's your turn," Xiangshu said to Chen Xing. "Say it quickly now, otherwise the great Chanyu will leave you on the mountain, and you will never be able to return to Qi Li Chuan." Chen Xing rushed towards Xiangshu, stepped onto the edge of the shield, and hugged his waist. Xiangshu immediately wrapped an arm around him. "Let the Yin mountains bear witness." Chen Xing shouted loudly, tears in his eyes. "Let the Yin mountains bear witness." Xiangshu tilted his head upwards, smiling as he shouted that, before he turned with Chen Xing. Leaping over those flurries of snow, they passed through the ebb and flow of the tides of time that made up their previous lives and this one, shooting over the forests, flying over the mountains. The myriad manifestations of this fleeting life are like mountains, and every second of that time is like the ocean. Though the mountains and seas may lie between us, our love will level them. The hubbub of the world gradually fell away, and the ancient love pledge tree tied full of red knots had already become clad in silvery white. Under the tree, Xiangshu had regained his pitch-black royal robe, and he laid in the snow, Chen Xing sprawled on top of him. Their heads were covered in powdery white. Xiangshu watched Chen Xing, his gaze moving from his eyes to his lips. "Why, do I always remember?" A thread of confusion appeared in Xiangshu's eyes. "Shh, don't say anything," Chen Xing said quietly, before he hugged Xiangshu's neck, pressing him down onto the snowy ground, lowering his head and capturing his lips. When their blazing hot lips touched, Xiangshu widened his eyes, but Chen Xing closed his. He forgot all of his thoughts, but just as he kissed Xiangshu, a sense of warmth spread from the place where Lu Ying had once pressed on his upper lip. "Xiangshu." The realm of dreams broke apart in an instant, turning into real memories, and thousands of fragments flashed before Xiangshu's eyes. That ray of light that he had seen when they had first laid eyes on each other in the prison in Xiangyang, sitting on the bed in the palace in Chang'an, half asleep, hugging his Chen Xing, the 9 shining runes on the Akala blade, under the same ancient tree, Xiangshu anxious and uncertain as he turned to look at Chen Xing and Tuoba Yan behind it. The first time that they had gone sledding, the instant of panic that Xiangshu had felt when Chen Xing turned his head, as the tides ebbed and flowed, the rocking of the ship on the ocean, on the night of the autumn deity festival in Jiankang, Xiangshu had tightened his grip around the red string in his hand. In Shaoyang City, Chen Xing laid on the bed, sunk in a coma. Xiangshu's eyes were red as he gently stroked his forehead. In the ancient formation of the tides of time, the Akala blade pierced his chest, but he still used all his might to approach, trying to use that light to shine upon his Chen Xing. The breaking of the Dinghai pearl, the revival of all magic, in the whirlwind of space and time, the phoenix circled and Iupator took a physical form, holding the Luahun bell in its hand. In his embrace, Chen Xing turned into motes of light and dissipated. All of the matters of the past once again resurfaced from the sea of his dreams, rose, and returned to Xiangshu's hanpo. The golden light faded away, turning into the gentle snow under the ancient tree in Qi Li Chuan, landing on their bodies. When their lips parted, Chen Xing stared hazily at Xiangshu. Both of their faces were bright red, and Chen Xing's heart was beating so fast he couldn't breathe. His entire head was filled with only a single thought: kissed him, I finally managed to kiss him. But at this moment, Xiangshu asked, his voice trembling, "Seen er?" Chen Xing. As if he was waking from a dream, Xiangshu flipped them over, pressed Chen Xing into the ground, and once again kissed him. Chen Xing's eyes immediately widened, his heart and mind churning. He wanted to break free and push Xiangshu away to ask him clearly, but Xiangshu didn't allow him the space for even a bit of resistance as he pressed down on his wrists. It wasn't until Chen Xing completely let go of the desire to talk with him, instead quietly exchanging kisses with him, that Xiangshu's hands that had locked Chen Xing's in place gently loosened. His palms firmly stroked the centers of Chen Xing's hands, before parting his fingers, their fingers entwining tightly around each other. From this moment onwards, the heavens, the earth, destiny, time, the devil god. End chapter. Dinghai Fusheng Records. Chapter 115. Relationship. Should we go sledding? Tuoba Yan easily placed the shield on his back by stomping on it with one foot. Xiaoshan had always kept his vigilance up a little on this autumn close festival day, as Tuoba Yan's wholly passionate pursuit toward Lu Ying was in full swing. It was only because Lu Ying had told him over and over again before going out that he was prohibited from ripping open his chest and cutting open the mortal's belly, much less summoning thunder to kill him, that Xiaoshan managed to restrain himself, albeit with much difficulty. He was still very, very, very unhappy, though. The corners of Lu Ying's mouth raised. "I'm not going." "I might not be a tile," said Tuoba Yan, "but we can try it. I will ensure we won't slip and fall." Tuoba Yan had bought food for Xiaoshan several times in hopes of shooing him aside for the time being, but every single time, it didn't go according to plan. Xiaoshan came back very quickly and then fixed his stare at Tuoba Yan. When the two had first met way back in Chang'an, Tuoba Yan had thought Xiaoshan was either Chen Xing's younger brother, adoptive son, or something along those lines. Their friendship was shallow. Xiaoshan didn't speak Xianbei and could only communicate in the Han language, and even then, he also spoke very little. Not that Tuoba Yan had noticed Xiaoshan's faintly discernible hostility toward him either. "Lu Ying," Xiaoshan couldn't hold it any longer and called out. Lu Ying looked at Xiaoshan in the eyes as if pondering over something. He then asked, "You want to sled?" "No." Xiaoshan felt dissatisfied. "I'm going to find Chen Xing." Lu Ying said, "Don't bother him, he ought to be very busy today. It's better to stay with us ba." Xiaoshan took a deep breath. "No." He proceeded to walk in another direction after that, though he still looked back from time to time as if hoping that Lu Ying would stop him, yet Lu Ying never opened his mouth the entire time. Xiaoshan was finally gone. For some reason, Tuoba Yan always felt kind of threatened whenever Xiaoshan was around. It was as if he was going to get stabbed from behind all the time. "He has grown up," said Lu Ying with a smile as he turned his head and glanced at Tuoba Yan. "Aren't you recovering from a serious illness?" Tuoba Yan asked. "Are you tired?" Lu Ying slightly nodded, prompting Tuoba Yan to ask, "Want to drink something?" Lu Ying was temperate about everything. He just walked wherever his feet brought him to while watching the Hu people do things, though a look of amazement could be seen reflected in his eyes once in a while. He resembled a youth who was finally able to come out to bask in the sun after being rendered unable to leave his house for so many years due to his poor health. Seeing this, Tuoba Yan thus told him about the magnificent landscape of Chang'an, the mountains in the Xianbei area, and the traveling merchants of the Silk Road, although having said that, they were mostly just tales he had heard from other people. After all, after Fujian had taken him in, Tuoba Yan had spent most of his time practicing martial arts, or training the Yulin army inside the palace, and rarely ever got a chance to go out. While he had left Chang'an several times on some rare occasions, those were just him following Fujian to do the imperial inspection. The two were sitting on one side of the long table. Tuoba Yan took some wine and moved to sit opposite of Lu Ying. The merriment during this autumn close festival had already reached another level. The Hu ladies were already so tipsy that they were pressing their loved ones down, wantonly kissing, be it on the table, on the snow, on the tent, or any other places people could think of. On another side, Shamelessly picking up their smiling girls, the warriors went sledding on the mountains before proceeding to hide behind the cover of their tents, entangling with each other without the slightest scruple. On the bustling arena and in front of the wine table, men and women, like an ebbing tide, had already begun to leave one after another. They looked similar to wild beasts dispersing toward the prairie, free to sit down anywhere under the canopy of the sky to passionately seek pleasures. The table was in a complete mess, with wine cups lying askew or straight up overturned. Lu Ying sat quietly as he looked into the distance. Tuoba Yan smiled. I heard it was very rare for snow to fall down during the autumn close festival. In the past 50 years, it has only happened twice. The first time was on the day Shulakong took over as the Great Chanyu 5 years ago. That day, His Majesty brought us along to congratulate him. I was just an ordinary Yulin guard then. Lu Ying, you care very much about your emperor. Tuoba Yan sighed after pondering over it for a while. He's akin to a father to me. It's the same as, you and Xiaoshan? He's, your younger brother. Despite being alone, Lu Ying was looking after a child, but if one were to say these two were father and son or even just brothers, they didn't look alike. Ba? Adopted son. Lu Ying smiled ever slightly. I had once entrusted him to Chen Xing. From the look of it, it seems that he was very competent in teaching Xiaoshan these past few years. He wouldn't have been this docile before and would have used his claws to scratch all over the place. Xiaoshan was silent as he sat on the edge of the camp with Sima Wei by his side. When the children from Chi Le Chuan came over, Sima Wei used bamboo sticks to pick some of the drought fiend's sweets from the pot and handed them over. Seeing Xiaoshan sighing and gazing into a faraway place, Sima Wei also handed him a stick of sweets. Xiaoshan fiddled with the stick, turning the drought fiend's sweets back and forth. Lu Ying is not going to respond to that mortal's feelings. Why does he celebrate the festival with him today? Sima Wei replied offhandedly, I don't know. Xiaoshan's sitting posture was simply a carbon copy of Xiangshu's. Although he still had a small physique of youth, the Xiangnu slim-fit martial robe against his skin highlighted his trimmed waist. He had a perfect shoulder-to-waist ratio, and the shape of a beautiful adult male could already be vaguely discerned on his handsome face. Back to that year when he had first met Chen Xing, his skin color had looked slightly tanned because of long-term exposure to the sun on the ice field. The little hint of gloominess on his face made him resemble the former Xiangshu, looking just like a lone wolf. Xiaoshan said, Will Lu Ying walk away? Sima Wei, his eyes fixed on the remaining bit of drought fiend sweets at the bottom of the pot, went to try it himself. Although, having been dead for so many years, he couldn't taste anything anymore. Anything that grows legs will be able to walk away, Sima Wei answered. Xiaoshan said, I mean, will he leave? Why don't you ask him yourself? Sima Wei asked him back. I did, Xiaoshan said, but he didn't answer me. He said I was still young, that I still had a long way to go. But I've already grown up. Sima Wei gathered up the drought fiend sweets before finally giving them to a little child. He then fastened the pot to his head and got up. Let's have a snowball fight. Ba. Being so vexed at the moment, Xiaoshan wasn't in the mood to fight. But Sima Wei had already gotten up, and he bent down and formed a snowball with his hand. He then threw it at Xiaoshan, hitting him right in the face with a pow. Xiaoshan. Xiaoshan immediately got up and launched a counter-attack against Sima Wei. Children from all over the place began to pour in a moment later, laughing heartily. They soon joined the fight. On one side of the long table, Tuoba Yan was seemingly immersed in recalling some slightly confusing fragments in his memories. Wolf cubs, Lu Ying said to himself, always learn to go hunting by themselves. Saying so, with eyes carrying a smile, he looked up at Tuoba Yan as if he caught sight of someone from a long time ago through him. What are you planning to do after this? Tuoba Yan asked. Will you also follow Chen Xing? Lu Ying fixed his gaze at Tuoba Yan's eyes, thinking for a long time before slowly shaking his head in the end. "There is a hint of sadness in your eyes," Tuoba Yan suddenly said. "Is there any knot stuck in your heart?" Lu Ying was slightly surprised at this remark, but soon he smiled and replied, "No, why do you say that?" Tuoba Yan was hugging his arms. With one foot stepping on the bench, he pondered for a while before saying, "Back when I was still a child, His Majesty would take me to do something whenever I was feeling depressed. Would you like to try? Next time ba." Lu Ying once again refused Tuoba Yan's offer in a straight manner. "I simply want to sit quietly for a moment at this time." Tuoba Yan, who had spent a night tossing and turning about as he racked his brain figuring out a method to win Lu Ying's favor, was at his wits' end knowing all his efforts were fruitless. The two sat opposite of each other just like that. Lu Ying looked into the distance, but his gaze soon fell back to Tuoba Yan's body after a moment. When his eyes caught sight of the ring on Tuoba Yan's finger, he became slightly lost in thought. "You." Noticing his line of sight, Tuoba Yan came up with a new tactic. After lowering his head to take off the ring engraved with an open-work dragon pattern, he put it on the table and shoved it toward Lu Ying. "Do you like it? I'm giving it to you ba." That ring, Tuoba Yan's only remaining possession, had become the final thing he thought about ever since Fu Jian had confiscated his belongings and sent him to prison because everything else was given to him by Fu Jian and no longer held any meaning. Lu Ying naturally knew the meaning behind his gesture. "No, you misunderstand." Lu Ying smiled. It was merely an involuntary action as he was immersed in memories. Although, since Tuoba Yan had taken it off, he still politely picked it up to take a look. "It's for you." Tuoba Yan smiled. "It was handed down from my father's mother." Lu Ying was a little startled the moment he took a casual glance at it. Liu Yun's signet ring. "Look, the ornate dragon on the top is very beautiful," said Tuoba Yan as he moved a bit closer to Lu Ying to look at the ring in full detail. Lu Ying denied, "This is not a dragon, but the divine beast of your Xianbei tribe, the dragon deer. It's the god that blesses your tribe with glory and prosperity." Ah! Fu Jian had taken Tuoba Yan to Chang'an ever since he was a child. Only the national mandate of heaven was promoted in the current dynasty, and since there was skepticism that divine beasts were capable of usurping the country, they had long become a very taboo topic. The Hus traversing the pass, besides those from the ancient Qi covenant, had gradually become alienated from their traditions and totems. Tuoba Yan had once heard of this dragon deer and had seen its portrait when he was a child, but it was completely different from this. "Those who obtain the Liu Yun signet ring," Lu Ying continued, "will become the human world's son of heaven in the future." Tuoba Yan merely laughed it off. "It can't be." Lu Ying didn't inform him that the dragon deer on the Liu Yun signet ring was none other than himself. With a tone full of interest, he only said, "Perhaps it's simply meant for you to take care of this magical artifact." Tuoba Yan was surprised. "This is a magical artifact?" After meditating a little, Lu Ying said, "Let me teach you a heart mantra. Ba. Cultivate according to it, and you may be able to put this magical device to use one day." Lu Ying used this ingenious method to resolve Tuoba Yan's perseverance in giving him the ring, ending the increasing awkward tension as they pushed the ring back and forth. Tuoba Yan was actually flabbergasted. After Lu Ying conferred to him the mantra, he once again reminded him, "Do not use the spell randomly during normal times." Tuoba Yan immediately nodded but couldn't help but ask, "Are you a celestial being?" Lu Ying smiled while shaking his head. He said after getting up, "I'm going, I'll see you later." Wanting to get up to follow Lu Ying, Tuoba Yan asked, "Shall I accompany you again?" Lu Ying gracefully turned down Tuoba Yan's good intention. That otherworldly being untouched by mundane affairs no longer allowed Tuoba Yan to follow him. Tuoba Yan dazedly stared at Lu Ying's figure while holding the ring. He immediately tried to catch up with him after coming back to his senses, taking some big strides, but Lu Ying had already walked into the crowd of Hu people and disappeared. Xiaoshan, head already covered with snow, guided a group of children to jointly attack Sima Wei. The Xiangnu children were cheering Xiaoshan, shouting, "Down him! Knock him down!" Sima Wei was having an extremely good time playing with the children. Lu Ying soon arrived. "Xiaoshan," asked Lu Ying, "let's go play ba." Xiaoshan looked at the people currently sledding on the mountain. He pondered for a while and finally said, "Father asked me to help him fulfill one wish, saying that he had once promised you this but was unable to accomplish it in the end. He wanted me to bring you to sled on the Yin Mountains." Lu Ying was a little astonished. "When was this?" 3 years ago, Xiaoshan said, "in Yuk, during the previous lifetime." Hearing it, Lu Ying lightly nodded. He knew that the grey wolf's remaining Yao power was inside Xiaoshan's body, and there was also some kind of strange connection between father and son. Otherwise, Xiaoshan wouldn't have known what Xiaokan had once said to himself. Xiaoshan paced quickly toward Lu Ying and took his hands. Rushing into the camp, he borrowed a shield rivaling his own height from the Xiangness and put it on his back. "The sky is still bright," said Lu Ying before he spread his arms and gracefully turned into his white deer form. Putting his arms around the white deer, Xiaoshan then turned over and placed himself on its back. "Why are your horns missing again?" asked Xiaoshan. "I don't want to show them these days," the white deer leisurely replied as it threaded on the sky toward the other side of the Yin Mountains. Xiaoshan stepped on the shield while the white deer transformed back into a human. When the two people were on the shield, Xiaoshan asked, "Are you afraid?" Lu Ying smiled. "Be careful, I might randomly throw you out." Lu Ying, standing on the shield, slightly bent down to hug Xiaoshan. "Let's go down." Letting out a howl that resembled a wolf's, Xiaoshan brought Lu Ying with him and slid down the cliff amidst the fluttering snow. With a smile in his eyes, Lu Ying gazed at the sky of Chuan in its twilight. The reddish-golden setting sun was descending slowly down the skyline as its golden light traversed far beyond the horizon, passing through thousands of years and landing on that forest at the foot of Mount Karasha. The white deer had been wandering through the forest then. Amidst that little bit of light produced by the twilight, he had spotted a huge bluish-gray wolf standing in front of the mountain beyond the forest. That wolf slightly lowered its head, and nothing was standing between them. The white deer immediately turned around and escaped the gray wolf's gaze. Day dawned when Zuyan opened its eyes, and night fell when they closed. The moment it fell from the sky, thousands of stars, shooting down akin to a waterfall, scattered into falling dust. The resting white deer was instantly transformed into his human form, who then bewilderedly looked at the sudden changes in the sky. There seemed to be neither days nor nights nor stars in those days, but soon, heaven and earth gradually resumed their former, original appearance. On that day, Lu Ying, dressed in white with nothing under his feet, was looking up as he plucked the newly grown leaves on a treetop when a tall figure walked slowly into the forest. Xiaokan, wearing animal hide, had his gaze fixed at him. Lu Ying, who had transformed into a human, immediately became alert and turned around to face his gaze while also preparing to escape at any time. Involuntarily, Tuoba Yan's figure walking into the forest yesterday evening had reminded Lu Ying of the past event happening thousands of years ago. A strong wind blew over as Lu Ying and Xiaoshan sled to the foot of the mountain. "Xiaoshan, again." "All right," said Lu Ying with a smile as he turned into the white deer and carried Xiaoshan uphill. At that moment, the Yao power inside Xiaoshan was unleashed impromptu. A howl seemingly of a wolf sounded, this time reverberating throughout the mountains. Stepping on the shield, Lu Ying followed Xiaoshan to slide down the precipice one more time. "Do you like it? I'm giving it to you, ba. It's for you." The smiling face of Tuoba Yan, who was taking off the ring and pushing it to Lu Ying, gradually began to blur. Between the shade of light and shadow, time seemed to have gone back to hundreds of years ago. The grey wolf, coming over bringing that lustrous Dinghai pearl, put the pearl in front of Lu Ying and used its nose to push it toward him. A golden ring was rotating slowly inside the Dinghai pearl, producing an exceptionally beautiful luster that was totally unique throughout time. "It's for you," the grey wolf's deep voice sounded, undulating affection apparent in its green eyes. "I found it at the far end of Karasha." "Xiaoshan!" Lu Ying shouted. "What?" Xiaoshan turned his head back. "Lu Ying, you've grown up. It's very nice." The two sled down to the foot of the mountain for the second time. Xiaoshan slightly hesitated, seemingly looking for the Yao power within his body to ascertain the final thought left by the grey wolf. He finally asked, again. After Lu Ying had transformed back, Xiaoshan mounted the white deer and went uphill once more. Winds blew past their ears. As rose-tinted sky stretched far and beyond to the ends of the earth, a myriad of dreams gently descended without waiting for the divine land to welcome the night. Inside that dazzling dreamscape, Xiaoshan appeared. The black robe he was wearing fluttered in the wind, and, stepping on the shield, he turned his head to smile at Lu Ying behind him. "Let the mountains bear witness," said Lu Ying. "I am the mountains," Xiaoshan said. "I will wait for you at the end of the cycles of reincarnation." He then disappeared from Lu Ying's dream, and taking his place, as before, was the small Xiaoshan standing before Lu Ying. "Xiaoshan." Lu Ying patted Xiaoshan's head. "The sun is setting, it's almost time to light the fire. Let's also go and join in the fun, ba? You've always liked the human tribe settlements ever since you were a child." "Okay," said Xiaoshan obediently. Then, he put the shield on his back and took Lu Ying's hand as he led him through the field of snow toward the hillside. Despite his small stature, his bearing already matched that of a grown-up. Under Qi Li's ancient tree, Xiangshu and Chen Xing were covered in snow as they stared at each other in a daze. Xiangshu, still in his royal robe, was sitting with his back against the big tree, his long legs spreading out in the snow. Acting just like a youth who had just declared his love to his beloved, he suddenly felt a little at a loss. He basically hadn't thought about his next course of action in the first place, never mind properly thinking it through. He was still awestruck, never once did he think that there would be such a brilliant day in his life. Chen Xing recalled the scene from a long, long time ago when he looked at him. That day, Xiangshu, dressed in iron armor with a sword on his back, had ridden his horse alone through the snow-covered canyon and ranges of Yin Mountains without the slightest care of his own safety in order to save him. Not only do I like him more the more I look at him, but also the more sorry I feel for him. Thinking so, he once more pressed Xiangshu's shoulders and tried to kiss him. But Xiangshu suddenly put a finger against Chen Xing's forehead. "Wait," Xiangshu said. "I remembered. Why didn't you tell me earlier? You all." Chen Xing tugged away Xiangshu's finger and kissed him again on the side of his face. Xiangshu was still muddle-headed until now. After he had completely connected the past events together, he immediately became unsure of what to do. "Chen Xing, you finally remembered. Do you know how anxious I was waiting for you?" "Xiangshu, Guang. No wonder. Did you people just watch me like I was some kind of joke all this time? Tell me, when have I ever laughed at you?" Chen Xing was totally baffled. "You ran to fight Chu alone. I haven't even criticized you for it yet any. That was to save you." After Xiangshu got up, he pulled Chen Xing up by the wrist. He then said, eyebrows knitting, "But you? Look at yourself, why did you keep everything from me?" Chen Xing replied, "Oh Fei Tian Ye, now that you've remembered everything, you want to settle old accounts? Didn't you also keep everything from me?" "When did I do that?" Xiangshu retorted. "Tell me, what did I hide from you?" Chen Xing had wanted to say, "You did so many things when I was asleep." But after thinking about it, he felt that wasn't right. He had been sleeping after all, so Xiangshu had had no way to tell him even if he had wanted to. Seeing that he couldn't twist the logic, he then tried to find an occasion where Xiangshu had deceived him so he could launch a powerful counter-attack at him, just to come up with none of Xiangshu's dirt at the moment. There was only one thing he could think of. You obviously can play the qin. Chen Xing angrily accused him. But you told me you couldn't. Xiangshu. Chen Xing, right? You even lied to me about such a simple thing, how much more are you still not telling me? What else do you have to say? Talk up. Xiangshu was rendered speechless. Chen Xing looked at that handsome face of his, heart filled with both love and hate for him. He was practically gritting his teeth. Quickly kiss me up. We only kissed for a short time just now, it's totally not enough. Come kiss me, enough talking. When Xiangshu looked at Chen Xing, he felt his lips getting warm and unwittingly licked his lower lips. Seeing this gesture immediately made Chen Xing feel even more dazzled. It was just, he had kissed Xiangshu multiple times, while Xiangshu had only done it once. It couldn't go on like this, or else it would look like he was too proactive. Not talking? I'm leaving then. Chen Xing was in a rage. As he said so, he walked a few steps away before turning back to look at Xiangshu. I said, I'm leaving. Chen Xing emphasized the words one more time. Xiangshu returned to his senses and immediately chased after him. Chen Xing was actually begging for a way out. As long as Xiangshu coaxed him even a little, he would immediately take the chance to reconcile with him. Alas, Xiangshu's mind was still out of focus and shaken to the core. He was thoroughly stunned by all these sudden events to the point not even a word could come out of his mouth. He just followed after Chen Xing and caught up with him after some quick strides. Where are you going? Xiangshu asked him. Chen Xing turned around and just stared at Xiangshu. In the end, Xiangshu said, do you want to attempt running all over the place again? If you do, Guang will. This sentence completely made Chen Xing explode. I want to go back to Zhongkong. Don't come along just properly be the great Chan Yu. Woof. Woof. The dog was wagging its tail. After running outside the camp and searching for so long, it finally found Chen Xing. Xiangshu, come here. Chen Xing said to the dog. But when the dog was about to come over, Xiangshu said, Chen Xing. Come here. The dog. The dog sniffed the smell of meat as people began roasting them in the distance. It looked at the two people before turning around and running away. Chen Xing was about to chase after it, but Xiangshu, getting really angry, took a few steps forward and stood in front of Chen Xing. This action made Chen Xing step back a little, subconsciously a little afraid of him. Seeing this, Xiangshu's eyes turned gentle. I was afraid that even after I told you all about the past, Chen Xing said, dejected, you wouldn't remember anymore. That you would only think so only because someone else has told you. Like that, if we are to do it all over again, you may not necessarily like me. What should I do then? This was indeed what Chen Xing had truly felt and not mere words spoken to coax Xiangshu. Xiangshu's eyes showed a trace of guilt when he heard the statement, as if this matter was, in the end, his own fault. After thinking for a moment, he tensely replied, how could that be? Hearing this rhetorical answer, Chen Xing felt even more delightful than hearing the words I love you. Although after that, the two people standing in that field of snow merely stared at each other, they were a little unaccustomed to it, like a window paper that turned unfamiliar because it had been pierced through. Can you please be a little more proactive? Chen Xing shouted in his heart. Xiangshu seemed to feel the same and had already become a little unsure of how to interact with him. He was very awkward regarding romance, not to mention that this was also the first time in his life. Moreover, the they inside his imagination and the current they were as different as heaven and earth. In the end, Xiangshu finally made one most pivotal move. He got close to Chen Xing and stretched out his fingers to pull Chen Xing's hand. Chen Xing's heart thumped wildly as his fingers were caressed, and soon afterward, 10 of their fingers were interlocked with each other again. Xiangshu was still a little distracted. He wanted to hug Chen Xing, but seeing Chen Xing not responding at all, he dared not rush too much. At this time, cheers came from afar, signaling that the festival was about to reach its climax. Xiangshu thus led Chen Xing to the direction of the camp. Chen Xing was also pretty much unaccustomed to this. With their relationship suddenly changing in such a totally impactful, short period of half a shishan, he was already so happy he actually didn't know how to handle it. That day, was it very painful? I'm sorry, Xiangshu said. What? Chen Xing asked. Xiangshu replied, on that final day, I used my sword to hurt you. Chen Xing rushed to say, no, I didn't pay any attention at all. I had my whole attention focused on your body then. The pain had been there, but Chen Xing had been too preoccupied to think about it given the circumstances back then. Where did you wake up after that? Asked Xiangshu again. Chen Xing, in the dungeon, the place where we first met. How are you feeling now? Is it very confusing? It's like I have been sleeping for a very long time, Xiangshu murmured, his eyes looking toward the camp. The moment I woke up, I felt I just had a deep dream of a fleeting life. Chen Xing said, I have so many things I'd like to say to you. Are we going to join them now? Go ba, Xiangshu scrupulously said. Today is different from how it was. We still have a lot of time in the future. Xiangshu grasped Chen Xing's chin as he said so, lowering his head and kissing him on the lips as they stood outside the camp. His lips trembled, betraying the excitement and passion he felt deep inside his heart. Chen Xing's face reddened all the way to the base of his ears, but Xiangshu didn't go overboard. As flames lit up in the distance, he took Chen Xing by the hand with a faint smile on the corners of his mouth, and together, they returned to the camp. End chapter.